For you want come record or you want a video? Eh? Choma, all of you are soggy. Soggy come in. Anna, what's your number? We're 10. Ikanecho kazi hego. Ikanecho kazi hego. Amazi ni becha. But if I had not the mood in the thing there. They did what I because the cake is a move with the cursor. Or right key a click or left. Right. See, right, see, if it say like that.
You're right. One on that side.
Here, click away. Oh, arrow point right there. When you hear the arrow point 3 and then click.
Yes.
Okay.
That arrow.
Okay.
That arrow be like this.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, guys. So, just to make sure everyone's ready, group 8. I'm going to ask a question at the end of this particular session. Yeah. So, there we go. So, can I ask you, although I was also guilty of this, to turn phones off, please? Can I also ask you not to talk during presentations? I know it's quite tempting to say, oh, we haven't done that, or we have done that in our presentation, and want to kind of share experiences, but it's really distracting for people listening and also for people presenting if there are people talking. Yeah? There's people talking now. Yeah, give people your full attention. You know how hard you've worked on the presentations. Everybody else has also worked equally as hard. It's only good behaviour really to be able to give your full attention to their work. Okay, guys? That's enough. Bring your full audience.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, I will be doing the introduction of this very topic. These are my team members. We have Misha, Choma, and Angela. And so, we'll be discussing on the topic that says sexual health and sex education for women and girls. And we're looking precisely on the UK setting. But along the line, my colleague will be making some comparison between UK and that of Nigeria. So our topic is sexual health and sex education for women and girls, precisely in the UK. And on our content page, we have the introduction to sexual health and gender equality, the key drivers, the challenges, and ways to improve support for women and young girls in sexual health education, and we also have the policy recommendation. So first we have the introduction. First we're able to define for us to understand what we're actually talking about. We have a definition according to the World Health Organization. We define sexual health as a state of mental and social well-being in relation to sexuality. It goes beyond the absence of disease and includes positive aspects of sexual experiences. We also have the definition of gender equality, which refers to ensuring equal rights, opportunities, and treatment for all genders. We also have sex education, which is the instruction of issues related to human sexual and including human sexual activities, sexual reproduction, safe sex, and birth control. So moving on to the next slide, which we're looking at the inequalities women encounter when trying to access sexual health care in the UK. So from the challenge, from the things we have funding and capacity challenges, gender health gap, clearing health inequalities, equitable access to contraception, and increased demand and innovation, legal barriers in Northern Ireland. So we'll just be looking at a few points. We'll not really go into the whole details because of our time limit. So on gender health gap, research has revealed that in gender health gap in the UK, where many women receive poorer health care, that women actually in UK receive poorer health care in UK more than men, as in compared to the men gender. We also have the clearing health inequalities. In the UK, despite women raising concern about the disparities when it comes to sexual health or when it comes to their health issues, there have been persistent sexism in sexual health care when it has to do with the women here in the UK. We also have equitable access. Just to point out a few things, we have the equitable access to contraception. You know, it's necessary that women should have access to effective contraception options, which is crucial for reproductive health care. Well, despite the progress, equitable access to contraception remains a very big challenge. So we'll be moving on to the next slide. The graph shows the rates of teenage girls' conception with high rates of teenage conception in most deprived areas within the country. So within the context of our presentation, my colleague will be speaking more on that, this very issue. So the purpose of this very topic is for us to identify the public health issues which deals on the sexual health of women and girls precisely in the UK, and to identify the inequalities these women face when trying to access this sexual health care. So this slide is majorly pointing at the SDG 3.7, which aims to give which aims to ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive health care services. In essence, it emphasizes the importance of providing comprehensive sexual and reproductive health services to the women and girls here in the UK. And we also have the Sustainable Development Goals. And on this very slide is actually pointing at SDG 5, which focuses on achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. So I'll be leaving my colleagues to speak on the key drivers of women's sexual health issues in the UK. Thank you.
Good morning all. I am going to the portion key drivers of women's sexual health issues in the UK. The main key drivers are the abortion, sexual transmitted infection, sex education, teen pregnancy and contraception. Firstly, we go through the abortion. The abortion rate have been highest level in 2019 since the implementation of the Abortion Act in 1967. And the government policy has come to recognize that abortion is an important part of public health, and the NHS finances 98% of the abortion. And according to Sexual Health Framework in 2013, suggests that women seeking abortion should receive a timely access services, thereby reducing the risk of complication, decreases with early pregnancy termination. Then according to the age group of young women with 16 to 24 ages are made reported as the abortion. Then inequalities exist by the according to ethnicity. 8% of abortion occur in women self-reporting as black. According to that, the unmet needs of contraceptive method to the black community. Thereby, additionally, the inequalities occurred to the decrease in the deprivations. and the unsafe abortion result in physical health risks like hemorrhage, incomplete abortion, and genital perforation, etc. Next one is sexual transmitted infection. This demand a special attention in the public health effort. The untreated infection result in the long-term health problems and mortality, and it also cause the adverse effect like female fertility. Therefore, the importance of the early detection and the treatment. So, in this graph represents the new diagnosis of sexual transmitted diseases in England from 2012 to 2021. We see that in 2020 to 2021 the similar cases are reported due to the pandemic situation, less access to the health services, and the contraception method use is decreases, thereby increases the sexual transmitted infection in the specific areas. Next one is contraception. According to this graph, we see that the highest proportion of contraceptive use is increased by the age group of 60 to 24 years, and the use of contraception is decreases according with age. According to the equitable access to contraception is seen as fundamental to achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. And during the COVID pandemic situation, there is a significance of women to access the contraception due to the day-to-day life, due to the less access services during the pandemic situation. Next one is the sex education. The lack of the education result in various problems like early marriages, unplanned pregnancy, gender-based violence, etc. The informed decisions relies on the education. When the school offers the opportunity for the young individuals to learn about sex, education, pregnancy, etc. This gives the young individuals to give better understanding of the healthy relationship to avoid unwanted pregnancies, etc. From the relationship, sex and health education became mandatory component of all schools from September 1st to 2020. These give the education, sex education give at the primary level, the relationship and sex education at the secondary level, and the health education including puberty education at the both levels. Next one is the teen pregnancy. The teen pregnancy in England is higher when compared to other Western European countries. These teenagers are the highest risk of the unplanned pregnancies. These challenges result in the intergenerational inequalities in the society. So, according to that, the Department of Health in England applied the objective to framework to improve the sexual health improvement. Thereby, the main aim is to the sex education in mandatory in all the schools in 2020, and thereby support the young people regarding the healthy relationship and to avoid the unplanned pregnancies. These are the how progress on prevention of teenage pregnancy contribute to the public health and NHS outcome. The main one are the under 18 conception rate, still the incidence of low birth weight of term babies. The most of the babies are 30% or higher rate of babies are born under women of 20 years old. So thereby the infant mortality rate is increased when the woman give birth to the baby under 20. So smoking status at the time of delivery is double in the case of the younger woman. So the mental health also is poor in the case of younger woman. So it may also affect the child development to up to 2.5 years due to the low mental development of the mother. So according to the data that the 12 to 13% the young women have no rate of education, employment or training. Next, I welcome Angela to continue the story. Thank you.
Hello.
when we look at key drivers and we're looking at what is going wrong with teen pregnancy and people not accessing their sexual health care, we need to explore challenges and we need to explore policy and why it is going wrong. So in exploring the challenges section, we chose to look at policy, lack of funding and marginalised groups and health disparities. So in the UK, we have a women's health strategy, and this was implemented in 2022. And what that did was recognise that women make up 51% of the population. And previously to this, our healthcare systems were designed by men, for men, which is obviously going to cause massive problems for us women when we have men that are looking at our problems and trying to sort them out. So basically what it found was the healthcare system was lacking women's knowledge. It found gaps in research with issues such as endometriosis, and it was failing to put women at the heart of the healthcare system. And this has been widely documented in various inquiries and reports. The Women's Health Strategy also appointed the first government Women's Health Ambassador, and that was Professor Dame Leslie Regan. And to be honest with you, if Women's Health Strategy 2022, quite frankly, is a little bit shameful. The UK, since we're one of the most wealthiest countries in the world, I think we're about 8th, 7th or something like that. So it's a little bit delayed, but obviously better late than never. We have what's called the Health and Care Act as well, 2022. And this builds on previous legislation that's within the UK already. And it's all about multidisciplinary working and working together with teams. So this enables healthcare to be so much better. It helps people work together, streamline care systems. It helps people to navigate the system as well. It focuses on prevention and early intervention. It addresses workforce challenges and enhances accountability. Which all sounds absolutely wonderful, and how could this possibly go wrong? However, and lots of people as well welcome multidisciplinary workings, LA, local authorities and health systems. We all really wanted that to happen and work very well. However, the UK has unfortunately been going through austerity policies for quite a while now, for 10 years plus, which inevitably hit local authorities hard, which are the main funding for sexual health services. So, as you can imagine, with lack of funding, that's not going to go down very, very well when providing support for communities and the pressure on local authorities. And cuts to services means also cuts to staff. When staff are leaving, that means they're taking their specialisms with them. This is a graph regarding the cuts to the services. So local councils currently invest £534 million per year on reproductive and HIV services. It equates to the third largest public health spend, but unfortunately, the funding to local authorities has been cut pretty much every single year since 2015. And it equates to £1 billion, which is 24%. You can see here it's quite a large chunk of funding, which is constantly being cut. Next slide. So basically, what we're doing is as well, when we're doing cuts, we need to really look at, like how is this system going to function? So what happens is when you remove when you take away funding, you're taking away specialism, like I've just said, but that need is still there. So people will either stay infected with sexually transmitted diseases, spread infections, or get very, very poorly with them. So that means they will have to access the National Health Service, so potentially go to A&E. In the data, it showed that 300 hospital admissions were for chlamydia. These hospital admissions for gonorrhea had tripled. Syphilis was exactly the same, that had nearly doubled.
These are infections that can be treated with antibiotics. They shouldn't really need an admission to A&E. But unfortunately, due to lack of care for sexual health, that's what's having to happen. Next slide. So basically this just speaks about the cost of admissions, and it just gives a little bit of a breakdown. I could have gone into this, but obviously we're on a time limit. So basically if you walk into a clinic and you get an assessment of your STD nurse, it will cost around £86. Like the previous slide, if you are going to accident and emergency and you're going through triage and you're having specialist care, it's going to cost nearly £418. There's a massive difference in costs and it should not be happening. But unfortunately, that's what people are having to do, which is obviously a nightmare. When we cut services, that inevitably creates health disparities. In the recent Commission on Race Ethnic Disparities report, it highlighted a lack of trust in government services. It also noted as well a lack of professionals and government officials from ethnic groups, meaning that people no longer have trust in these healthcare providers. It also showed as well, in the Lancet showed that risk of miscarriage for black women was actually 43% higher than white women, which quite frankly is absolutely shocking. There was lots of statistics on this, and that for me was the most shocking. In the women's health strategy as well, they've grouped what I would deem as marginalised groups as an inclusive health group. Migrants, asylum seekers, Gypsy, Roma, traveller communities are often poorly presented in data, which means that they don't have the data, which looks really, really, really awful in my opinion, because they should have the data, or the strategy should say how they're working towards getting the data rather than just saying they have no data. And that, moving on to my team friend, Chayomi, she'll come to the conclusion. And
thank you very much, Angela, for that. We are going to talk about the, even though we are talking about one setting, which is UK, we are going to analyze Nigeria and UK to see what is going on in the other setting. You can see the adolescent and young people at high risk of unwanted pregnancy, unsafe abortion in Nigeria. And it means that Nigeria is still finding their feet to achieve most of the SDG goals. As a result, there is a high number of maternal deaths, which is mostly caused by unsafe abortion. Young girls cannot proudly go into hospital to do safe abortion. They thereby go into a chemist to purchase unprescribed drugs to be able to divert stigma from people. But in the UK, people are being young girls can go into the clinic to do that, which NHS is funded. Abortion is prohibited in Nigeria, which any doctor who conducts abortion can face 14 years in prison, and a woman who indulges in that, 7 years in prison. From this chart, we see that from 2016 to 2021, we have an exponentially high rate of abortion, where it's recorded about 214,256 abortion for women resident in UK and England and Wales. 99 abortion in England and Wales funded by NHS and private sectors. So when you compare the two sides, you see that they are actually on different margin. Then we go to the contraceptive. We see that 18% of all women in Nigeria are actually using contraceptive, which is very low for what we should be expecting in the world now. And the married and the ones in the union are actually the ones using the 21%. And it's also worthy to note that women cannot
do take any contraceptive without the approval of their husband. And you see on the slide in the UK, the use of contraceptive starts from under 16 to all ages. The percentage is actually on the high side compared to Nigeria. Now we'll go to the recommendation. We recommend a long-term planning. Government should support sexual health and sexual and reproductive health policy to improve everyone's health. Also to invest in public fund. Enough funding for the PrEP is necessary if the government goal to achieve 2030 goals. A whole system approach, the integration of sexual health and reproductive health services, which includes commissioning, health strategic planning, health promotion. All of them are necessary to minimize fragmentation and enhance individual empowerment. The prevention, to prevent the sexually transmitted disease, encourage use of contraceptive, encourage regular asymptomatic testing and others. Contraceptive services should be integrated in England. Health inequality, policies must be in place to increase the uptake and accessibility of sexual and reproductive health care, particularly for marginalized population. New technology is also recommended, building on innovations like self-sampling, HIV testing. National agencies should provide funding for cutting-edge technology and digital services, make it top priority. Also, workforce to satisfy the rising demand for services and to continue offering cutting-edge services and technology. Primary care practitioners should be trained. Workers should be trained to be able to expand the workforce to incorporate the other skill sets. Also, sex education.